you ready?
Yes.
So first of all, welcome to the Rencontres économiques d'Aix. You're here to talk about our main theme this year, which is prosperity. So what is prosperity today, according to you, and how is it different from the past?
Well, prosperity in many countries have been achieved, with the pain and suffering of many of those at the bottom who did not have power and money and influence. So when we see prosperity all over the world, it is the kind of prosperity that is measured by the GDP, by the income, by what money can buy, by lavish luxury or vulgar vanity. And yet you see that majority of the people in the world, might be materially in poverty, or might be in distress in terms of climate change vulnerability. But you see also real prosperity in the greatness of the human spirit, in the solidarity, to really do good to one another, in the resiliency, to deal with one calamity after another. And so it is amazing. To me, prosperity is when people never give up on people, and that they create wealth not just for a few, but create wealth so that no one will be left to remain poor. So it's really about restoration. To me, prosperity is restoration of human dignity to the highest degree.
And do you think the world is moving forward?
Yes.
How
well,
so?
Well, I see that change, positive change will always come after great adversity, and I see now that despite the bleak scenario in Europe, with the uncertainty of the future for young people, too many great talents, high level of competencies, but little opportunities for the stagnating economy, for the burden of a massive migration of refugees, of unemployment for a lot of young people, things that a great economy like France never experienced before. Of course, in the past, you went from war to war, and you went into a long history of conquering territories to achieve the kind of prosperity that defines you now. But times are changing, and I see great hope, because while many are used to the luxury and and maybe just will not get out of their comfort zones, but others are also stretching the bounds of innovation, and many are coming down from their ivory towers to really get more grounding. I see so many French young people coming to our country. I think that we are the single biggest destination as an NGO, French interns coming from 32 universities. We get about 300 of them every year, and we expect the numbers to grow next year, because we have also presented to them the model of shared prosperity, where rich and poor can be partners in creating wealth together, no longer the employer-employee, the master and the labor setup. We can actually create a new economy, a common sense economy, where when we bring people out of poverty, then we actually build new markets.
So speaking of what you've done to achieve some kind of prosperity, how have you tried to achieve this prosperity through your association?
Well, I went to some people. They prepare for prosperity by going to the best university, that their talent can take them, that their money can buy them. And then afterwards they go also to the top jobs that will provide them also value, to their talent. And then they go for the pleasure that money can buy, the best apartment, the best car, the best holidays. And that is the world's definition of prosperity. But to many, who have no access to capital, no access to market, no access to technology, prosperity is in the caring relationship that they build with one another. So what I'm trying to do now is to really help rich and poor, create prosperity where there is no master-slave relationship, just employer-laborer relationship. We have created our own company, and we are encouraging more French young people to come to Asia, build enterprises that will create shared value for France and the Philippines. We have a new company now called for cosmetics, called Human Nature, and it was really opened for us to provide sustainability to the communities that we built, develop our entire value chain. And we created a company that does not fire our people. We have about 400 people working with us now. But we through a very tough selection process, intensive training, we really empower the poor to be at par with better educated people. And we're amazed at the results. When you give them security, when you give them dignity, when you give them a decent home, when you provide education for their children. So we even pay our lowest rank employees double the minimum wage. So we should not be spending on very lavish advertising, paying hundreds of millions of dollars to movie stars and athletes. We should be using that money to bring people out of poverty so that we can build new markets.
I was going to ask you, what are the major obstacles to a global prosperity, and what's your advice to overcome these obstacles?
Well, it's just the mentality, it's just the mindset that we cannot do it. So but young people now we're encouraging. That's why we have opened floodgates for the French to come to our country, and hopefully we will also bring them to our communities in Indonesia, in Malaysia. So we have built over 3,000 communities for calamity victims, conflict victims, and we are at this phase of building our own economic platform, and we have built the first farm village university in the world in the Philippines with our French interns, and we have received about 1,600 of them in the last 7 years. So it's a bridge that we're creating between between Europe and Asia, with France as our hub here, because I believe that some of the most exciting social entrepreneurs are in France. And I don't know, by destiny, we have no history with France, and maybe that's a good start. And now they're starting to discover Asia, because Asia is more than half of the world's market. And so many emerging economies that will need social entrepreneurs to create inclusive wealth. And that attracts a lot of young, idealistic French social entrepreneurs. So we work with Ticket for Change, we work with Make Sense, we work with Live for Good, we work with Convergence, we work with Positive Economy, and we also work with the groups in the World Forum Lille, and now with Aix-Provence.
It's amazing because we're in a world today that has seen recent popular votes not go the way we wanted, for example. But you seem very hopeful about the future. It's a great message.
Well, the thing here is that when you talk about popular votes, is it again our popular concept of prosperity, or about our popular concept of traditional politics? And we have to. The young people are when they see that the old normal is no longer working, we have to be abnormal to create the new normal. So there's now a blurring of the lines between poverty and prosperity, because we see a lot of very rich people in the world who are miserable, and we see a lot of material poor people, who show so much happiness because they just, when you are really down, anything positive that comes to you is a reason to be grateful. Those who are at the top of a very, developed lifestyle, anything below that is a reason to complain.
Many thanks for joining us today at Aix-en-Provence.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.